Hallo, ich bin Frank Turner und das ist Arte Tracks Plattenkiste.
Up at the cup in the record shop. Sat behind the counter in a right girl top. And every time she looked at me, my heart just stopped. I'm in love with the girl from the record shop. I've been in every day by so much smile. Don't even know my own turntable. Something in a song makes you so unstable. Oh yeah, I'm in love.
Oh boy. Okay, there's so many in here that I love. God damn it. Die erste. The first one. Iron Maiden, the debut album. This is an incredible record, and which song am I gonna play? Running Free, okay. There it is. What a song. It's so good. And then there's the bit. Fuck, it's so good. Love it. I made it. This was the second record that I ever owned. The first one was Killers, which is the album that comes after this one, which I have the artwork tattooed on my leg. I saw an Iron Maiden poster and I thought it was cool. I was 10 years old and I didn't listen to any music. And my friend said, oh, it's a band that my brother likes. I was like, fuck off, man. There's no bands that's as cool as that poster. So my dad bought me a copy of Killers on cassette from the train station. And to this day, my parents think that's the biggest mistake they ever made, because that's when my life changed. And I got my pocket money and I started buying Iron Maiden records. And this was the second one. I mean, fuck it, I'm gonna go for the second one here. This is like a tour of my tattoos. There's Freddie, there he is. Ta-da! I fucking love Queen, and I love every song on this record. I don't trust people who don't like Queen. I know this record like the back of my hand.
Tonight I'm gonna have myself a real good time. I feel alive, and the world I'm turning inside out, yeah, to floating around in ecstasy. So don't stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. Shooting star leaping through the sky.
When I do DJ sets, which I really shouldn't do, I always start my DJ set with that song, because it's the best starting a party song ever. But it's also a really complicated piece of music. It's a really beautiful piece of music, you know? I think that they are some of the greatest writers. Queen is the only band in history where all four members have written a #1 single. It's not true of the Beatles, it's not true of Rolling Stones, it's not true of anybody else, only Queen. So there you go. Actually, I've kind of had a bit of a vinyl revival of my own. When I was growing up, I was a CDs guy, because I would grow up in the 90s. Trying to get like a copy of each of my signpost records, the records that like changed my life. It's not even necessarily my favorite records, but the records that just where I was going this way, and then I heard that record and now I'm going this way, you know? And one of them is here. This, I mean, come on. Come on. The Clash, London Calling. It's such an incredible record, and it's such an important record for everybody, for so many reasons. It might be the only good double album ever made. Lots of people around the world love this song. So I grew up in the countryside, in a small town in the UK, and I feel like there's a special thing about the song London Calling. If you grew up in the UK and you were interested in underground culture, alternative culture, if you didn't like mainstream politics and mainstream culture, like I got interested in punk rock and everything, and there was no punk rock where I grew up, like nowhere. And it was just like, oh, London calling to the faraway towns, and it was like, that's me. London's calling me.
London calling to the faraway towns. Now war is declared, and Brite will come down. London calling to the underworld.
It's so good. Oh, and there he is. Fuck, we're still doing a tour of my tattoos right now. I think that every artist has the right to write about whatever the fuck they want to write about, and sometimes that's politics. For me, sometimes it's not. One of the reasons I don't write about politics that much is that I think that there are lots of people who are better at it than me. This, Prodigy, Fat of the Land. This is a really, really important record. This is, oh my God, look at that vinyl. That's super cool. Actually, no, that's not the one I want to play. Is this a 25th anniversary record? Oh my God, that makes me feel old. Middle of this one. Where's the volume? Turn it up. There we go. That's better. One of the good things about the internet and music is it means that genre stuff doesn't really matter anymore. Any kid can listen to anything, and they do, you know? And that's great, that's better. When I was growing up in the 90s, there were punk kids and there were dance kids, and you never hung out and you didn't have anything in common, and it was like two tribes and nobody talked to each other. And then this band, but particularly this record, came out, and suddenly it was okay for punks to listen to dance music, and suddenly it was okay for dance music kids to listen to punk rock. And I just remember like, kind of like having conversations with people at my school and just being like, oh my God, we can be friends now. They were revolutionary socially in the 1990s for kids in the UK, and I will always, always love the Prodigy. Okay, so here we have the one and only Amy Winehouse. One of a kind. I met her twice, and she was very nice. Let's just have a bit of the obvious. Hold on. I put this on the wrong side. Fuck it, it's a good song. We'll go with this one.
Do I stress the man when there's so many real things at hand?
She was a London person, and I think that's super cool. Obviously, it's totally tragic, everything that happened. We hung out in some of the same places that were unhealthy. She lost her grip on the edges of things, as far as I understand it. That didn't happen to me, but I can see how it might have done. She had a lot of pain in her soul, and that came out in amazing artistry and all the rest of it. And she was so kind of unique as well. I love the way she wasn't from a scene. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like there was a big band jazz scene in London that she came out of. She was just completely self-created, and I think there's something really admirable about that. But you know, she makes me think of the Good Mixer and the Hawley Arms, and kind of getting drunk on the bridge in Camden Town. Yeah. Beautiful record. Okay, I've got to play some of this. I can't not play some of this. NoFX, So Long, and Thanks for All the Shoes. They're a huge part of my life, of my musical childhood and adulthood, and I did a split with NoFX in 2020 that is my punk rock blue tick. Like, people on the internet argue about, well, people on the internet argue about stupid shit all the time, who cares? But like, people arguing about whether or not who I am and what I do is punk or not, and it's like, hey, fuck you, I did a split with NoFX. Eat my shit. Anyway, this record is easily my favorite NoFX record, like, bar fucking none. Like, if you pumped me full of ketamine and hung me upside down from a meat hook, I would still sing along with every word of this fucking record. Point. So, God, I love this album. Come on, Mike. It's coming. This is... What the fuck is this? This is not on my version of this record. It's the sound of somebody having a piss. That's the most NoFX thing ever. There we go. I've just realized something, right? I haven't looked at the sleeve of this record in years and years and years. These four people are not the members of NoFX. Like, I don't know who these people are, but none of these people are in NoFX, which is fucking hilarious. But I actually never really figured that out until just now. There's just four random motherfuckers on the record sleeve. I used to get CDs and kind of sneak them into the house, listen to them on headphones. I mean, that's when I was at home, which was not very often because my parents kicked me out of the house when I was 8. So I used to go to shows in secret and listen to records in secret. I have friends who talk about growing up and listening to their parents' record collection and their parents taking them to shows. I don't understand that at all. It seems so weird to me. I sort of had to like fight to listen to this kind of music, you know, and to be part of this culture, and therefore, like, it's fucking mine, and I care about it so much because of that. Music generally, punk rock in particular, like, it's a thing I had to fight for, and therefore I will always love it. And I'm gonna now pick a record that is not punk at all. I was a Bruce Springsteen hater, because I saw this and I thought, who's this fucking dickhead? Blue jeans, American flag, blah, 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 blah. I was like, fuck this guy. But I'd never listened to any. That's the thing. I just knew the record sleeve. I just had a warped view of who Bruce Springsteen was and what he stood for and all the rest of it. And then when I was about 24 years old, a friend of mine gave me a copy in Nebraska. And I listened to that and it blew my mind because it was one of the first times I understood that you could be heavy without necessarily having a shaved head and tattoos and going ruh, 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 at the front of a crowd, which was my version of heavy at the time. And that was, it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. That was a really big revelation for me. And then from there, I kind of got into the rest of Bruce Springsteen stuff, and now I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan. And just to complete the tattoo thing, I got a Born to Run tattoo on my tummy, and I also opened for Bruce Springsteen last year, which was cool as shit. And I'm gonna be really fucking obvious now. Here's a little bit of music trivia for you. Story goes that Springsteen had written and recorded this album and submitted it to the label. And they said, John Landau said it needs one more song, and Springsteen's like, fuck you, I wrote like 30 songs. But they forced him to write a song, and he sat down and he wrote Dancing in the Dark in 45 minutes and recorded it. But the problem with it is, it means that every motherfucker who works for a record label everywhere in the world, whenever they're working with a band, goes, oh, just write one more song, it might be Dancing in the Dark. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, just because it happened that time.
You can't start a fire without a spark. This guns for hire. Even if we're just dancing in the dark.
It's a fucking incredible piece of music, you know? And it's got Courtney Cox in the video.
Messages keep getting clearer.
Hooray. Ich war Frank Turner und das war Arte Tracks Plattenkiste.